on.
And introduce you to Marina. Marina, introduce yourself.
Marina.
Good morning, Marcia. How are you? Welcome, welcome. We've been very emotional about your arrival because we know you have an amazing story, and we can't wait for our listeners to get to know you. And are you ready to share the untold story?
I am.
So,
as ready as I'll ever be.
So, as ready as you can be. So, good morning, Marcia. Marina, please give us the countdown for recording.
We are live.
So, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Good afternoon, good evening. This morning, I have the delight and the pleasure to bring to you Marcie McLaughlin. Now, she is one of the most inspirational women that I know on this earth. Marcia will be telling us her story, but let me just give you a little glimpse. Marcia is the owner of the Phoenix newspaper. The Phoenix newspaper is the only good newspaper in the United Kingdom. And Marcia has been running this paper for almost 7 years, and she has given it away free. Did you hear me? She has been giving her paper away free every month, and she publishes online every day, and she doesn't ask anyone for a penny. I trust all of that is about to change. Marcia, please tell us your story.
Right. Yes, of course. I am Marcie McLaughlin, and I am the founder of paper, of which I'm extremely proud because it's a long life yearning for a newspaper that deals with positive things in life. Now, I've been in the media for a very, very long time, showing my age here, almost 40 years. So I've seen a lot. And I've seen the types of things that newspapers do write about. And most of the time, we're told that negative news sells, and that has been the case for many, many years. People rush out and buy a newspaper because it's got the worst type of stories in there. And that's how we've survived. But we all know that in life, news stories than bad news stories. But unfortunately, newspapers don't really give up space to tell those beautiful stories about the respect, the inspiration, provide role models, give respect to the older generation that has been in business for many, many years. And in particular, being in Britain, we talk about diversity, we talk about equal opportunity, we talk about multiculturalism. Well, the Phoenix newspaper is all of those things, because having worked for the Birmingham Post and Mail, which comes under Trinity Mirror Group, back in 1990, I always wondered why there was no positive images of myself or my son or anyone else really of color in the newspaper. And although I had a very powerful position, I thought to myself, I need to change that. I wasn't sure how I was going to change it, because we're talking about something that people don't really buy into, positive news. So because I am a one-parent woman, and I'm proud of that, I hasten to add, I love my son because he's my only son, and I wanted to make a difference for him. And how do you do that? You start by leading the way and showing him an example of how he can keep his head above water, not getting into problems with anyone, and making sure that he does the right thing out there. So yes, I gave up my job at the Trinity Mirror, and I went out there on my own to launch the first positive newspaper in the UK. Now, although the Phoenix newspaper is in its 7th year, I have been doing positive news now for the last 25 years. My first publication was called The Enterprise, and I actually launched that at Trinity Mirror, and they circulated it for perhaps the first 12 months to a wide, diverse audience. I wanted to connect to communities. I wanted people to understand what it is to know each other. Because if we're living beside each other as neighbors, and you'd see on the television, oh, this problem would happen, that problem would happen, because people didn't really know each other. And the reason for them not knowing each other is because they all have their own newspapers. And when you have your own newspaper, then you're not inviting me to read about you. Because people would say, why are you reading an Asian newspaper and you're not Asian? And it's true. You feel as if you don't belong. So here we have a newspaper connecting communities, and it's called a phoenix, rising from the ashes. Now, it wasn't just labeled the phoenix in the last 7 years for no reason. I lost everything that I had, because I'd been running a business, as I said, since 1996, I think. I launched my own personal publication called Community Enterprise. But before that, as I said, I launched the enterprise at Trinity Mirror. Now, 7 years ago, or should I say 8 years ago, I lost everything. I didn't realize that I was a diabetic. And without going into too many things, I ended up having a terrible fall all the way down the stairs, knocking myself out into a coma, and really waking up in a hospital bed, hearing, and I know a lot of people might find it strange when I say this, but I heard a whisper in my ear. And that whisper said, Marcia, get up. Now, I do find it very difficult to tell this story, because it's a strange one even for me. But spiritually, I listened to that voice and I got up. And although I wasn't sure what getting up and go and do the Phoenix was all about, I wrestled with this voice or this thought or whatever it was that was talking to me. And I said, but I have no money. I've lost everything. My husband has run off. I've lost my home, my car, my everything. And for the first time in my life, I was signing on the dole. I had no idea what it was to sign on the dole. I remember them calling my name, and I got up and I walked towards the lady. And as I sat in front of her, I just felt so ashamed, because I didn't realize that Marcie McLaughlin, who had done so many great things, could be on her knees in front of a dole office signing her signature. I came out of the dole office and I looked up to God and I asked him, bear with me a moment. Is this what you're going to give to me after all that I've done? I know I'm not perfect, but I don't deserve this. And as I said, when I went home, I fell 14 flights down the stairs. On my head, knocked myself out, end up in hospital just to speed things up. And the Phoenix came from that. When I started the Phoenix, I had no money. But an Asian lady sold her bangle because she believed in me. And I was able to publish the first 40,000 copies of the Phoenix newspaper. It was 2010, and there was a lot of snow on the road. But we did it, and we distributed all of the copies free of charge to the general public. Because I felt at that time, after hearing the Millie Dowler story and what the News of the World had done, I felt that we can do a lot better than that. We have got positive news. We should recognize the good in all of us, because it's that good that pushes us forward. And so that drive and determination to get those good news newspaper out to the general public was very, very important to me. 7 years on, I've continued to give away that newspaper to the general public because I wanted to build my readership. I wanted people to understand why I created this newspaper. So I didn't want them to pay for it. I delivered it to places where you'd have a hot, fast food, people entering these buildings, as they call a hot footfall area. So places like library, newsagents, reference center, chamber of commerce, city councils, individual businesses, doctor's surgery, you name it, we drop the paper. And so people have now got, over the last 6 years, they now understand what it is that we're doing, and they go back and pick up the publication time and time again. I don't know whether you want me to continue, but I could talk for Queen and Country, but I'm going to pause for a moment in case Neslyn wants to speak to me.
Oh, Marcia, we could listen to you forever because this story is just so touching. So, Marcia, you heard that voice, and that voice
Yes.
said, get up, and you got up, and you exhibited.
I opened my eyes.
I
opened my eyes, and at the time, my left ear was badly severed, and they said to me that I would need plastic surgery because it was hanging, and the nurse had just put it all together. And I remember the surgeon coming to see me, and he looked at my ear perhaps a day after it was torn to pieces, and it started to heal itself. And to date, no stitch has ever gone in my ear, and it doesn't look as if anything had actually happened to it. It healed by itself. And they were quite surprised because I'm a diabetic, so no one expected that to happen. So yes, miracles do happen, and yes, they happen to simple people like me. And so I'm humbled now to give back to the world and to mainly the new generation, the young people, because you have to give back because it's their time now. And even though we may have done things differently, I feel that our young people needs a newspaper that tells them the truth, a newspaper that tells them the truth about people, because people are wonderful. God made us all in many, many colors and many, many, I call them the rainbow people, because I believe that everyone is important. And so I try to get everyone in the Phoenix newspaper, rising from the ashes, people who believe that they couldn't possibly do anything, because I did. I thought because I'd had the fall and, I was in a coma that God hated me. But no, I realized that he had a greater plan for me, because without money, I now have 8 million readers, or should I say views online. I have a daily online portal, and I have a weekly newsletter that goes out to over 50,000 people that's linked with my social media. And I have a monthly printed edition that, goes out to the general public. Now, don't ask me how I do that, because I do it all myself. I couldn't afford the staff that I needed. Although I know what I need to move forward, I could not afford it. So I had to become many people. I had to become the receptionist. I had to be the sales and marketing person. I had to be the editorial team, and I had to be head of distribution and circulation. And trust me, it's just a click on the phone, or straight away I change over to these people and individuals within the company. So people believed that the paper was coming from a massive organization. And believe you me, it is coming from a massive organization, because it comes from a place that God has gotten a hand in. And so I do the work, and I continue to do the work. I know now I have to slow down, because I have to take care of my health. And if I'm being sensible, taking care of my health is only going to help the paper. So I need to start to sell the paper. And so from April, of this year, we will be selling the paper in Newsagents for 50 pence to help me and to help others to continue with the work that we are actually doing. Because between me and you, since we've been doing this newspaper, we're amazed at the amount of people that actually love positive news. People come from far and wide to collect the paper. I have watched women who pick up bundles of the newspaper. And when I asked them, what are you going to do with that? They said that, well, you don't distribute in our area, so we're bringing it to our company or our organization or whatever it is that they're doing with it. And this means spreading it across the country. You know, I get calls from America, I get calls from Africa, I get calls from India, Pakistan, China. You would be amazed at the way this paper is growing and how people are seeing it. But I'm just excited about it because you know why? The news that we carry is totally exclusive to us. You will not find the news anywhere else because we take care when we put that news together, because we want people to know that we love them. We want people to know that they deserve the care and attention from the media. I know it's difficult to think that writers would want to write good things about you, but we do. And the good thing about it is that people actually accept it and have been picking it up now in our 7th year. So we have to continue, and we have to make sure that this news gets far and wide. Yes, we are a global company now. We've partnered with many, many organizations across the world, and we're delivering the news on a daily basis. So you can click on to www. I may have said too many W's there because I do talk a lot. thephoenixnewspaper.com. And you can see our flipbook version, which is identical to the one that we print. And you can read it from cover to cover. There are 44 pages, or you can update yourself daily online on our daily news portal. That's pretty much all that I can say about the Phoenix. But, you know, what I can say about, you know, the work that I do is that it makes me humble. I'm humbled to serve the general public. I'm humbled to connect with the different communities that I connect with, because I get to hear firsthand that, you know something, we really aren't all that different. We are really all the same, and we're all aspiring for the same thing. Great things. And me saying to many, many women out there, we are amazing people. You know, I have a son. I didn't want my son to go and work in a factory, although there's nothing wrong with working in a factory, but I wanted him to do what he wanted to do. And so in this country, where opportunities are limited, you know, we have to be honest about things. Opportunities are limited to some of us, especially people of color. And I didn't want my son to suffer, although it hasn't been an easy road for him. I put him in business when he was 17 years old. Yes, he came, I was running my newspaper at the time, and I remember him saying that one of his idols, Biggie Small, Notorious Big, had died, and he wanted to do a tribute to Notorious Big. I said, okay, you can do a tribute, but you have to buy a page from my newspaper. It'll cost £2,000. What are you going to do to pay for it? And he said, I'm going to do a publication. And the publication I'm going to do, Mum, is one that will help other young people of talent. I said, okay, go ahead. What are you going to call it? He said, Street Cred Magazine. I said, Street Cred? Why Street Cred? He said, because we are credible. We are young people, but we're credible. We just want a voice that we can express ourselves. He said, Mum, I'm a singer-songwriter. You know, I've been singing since I was 9 years old. I've been performing, you know, across the UK, but there's no outlet for me. So I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do with my time or my talent. So I said, son, you have bought that page, but I want to see miracles from that page. And yes, in 1997, my son launched his first standalone glossy magazine titled Street Cred Magazine. He just celebrated 20 years of it now. And he put his singing career on hold because he realized that there were so many other young people, talented young people, that needed his help. And so I'm very proud of my son because I've watched him struggle. I've watched him put people first. And, you know, recently he's decided to go back into his singing career because he feels that Street Cred has done what it's supposed to be doing, and it's still doing it today. Because what he's done, he's passed on the baton to other young people, and he's saying to them, come on, get up, let's go forward. I'm very proud of my son, and he's the reason why I do what I do, because I think that parents, we need to really understand that whatever happens to our children, it's our fault. Well, for me, that's what I think. I brought him into this world, and I wanted him to be the best of what he could, and that could only come from me. So I've pushed him, and I've driven him, and now he has a publication that has helped other people as well. We don't get funding, unfortunately. I don't know what it is. I only know about hard work, staying up at night. That's probably why I got the diabetes, because I didn't eat very well. I didn't know what sleep was. I would work 24/7, you know. I was there on the distribution vans when they were distributing. I'm there writing the editorial, and I'm there selling the advertising.
Yes. Yes. You have given.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
It's very hard, but I have to do it.
Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and be in touch with the emotions. Because we are going to be broadcasting your story to the world. And your story will ignite others with the passion that they have within themselves. You said it was about giving back. And it's now time for you to receive. It is now time for you to receive. Because when the well goes dry, there is nothing left. And giving and receiving is two sides of the same coin. So you said you will be selling the printed paper for 50 pence. But what about the online version? All the 8 million people. If you were to ask 8 million people to contribute £1, that would be 8 million pounds. If they were to contribute just £1 for 1 year.
That would be amazing. It would be amazing. Not because I want to be the richest woman in the world, because I believe I am already. You know, I have so much to thank God for, you know, for giving me life, for giving me my son, which is so important to me. I love him more than I can love anything else on this planet. So I'm already rich. I would love the money to continue the work that I'm doing, to be able to employ people, to take a lot of the strain off me, because they say, you know, when you're a diabetic, you're supposed to keep away from stress. Well, that hasn't happened with me. I'm right in the thick of it. I know what the business needs. I know when people look at the paper, they wouldn't think that only 5 of us do that paper. I have a team, and I have to talk about my team because I treasure them. You know, they stick with me, and together we all work 24/7. So I'm very, very privileged to have these people around me. But they also need to have a breather. And that's the only reason why I want the money, really just to make our lives easier so that we can sleep at night, really, because we do deliver on time. When we say that the publication comes out on the 1st of the month, it comes out on the 1st of the month because it's all about respecting the people that we're serving. And that's so, so important, because a lot of times we tend to just think that we can just throw things at the general public. and get them to just buy into it for the sheer hell of it. Well, no, we're giving them quality stuff. And because our heart is in it, people think that it's coming from a bigger place than it really is, you know? So, yes, it would be fantastic to ask, you know, the general public to help us. Because right now we're about to sell the publication. The next edition, which is April, is up for 50 pence. And that's just because we can't manage to do it, to give it away free, as we've done for the last 6 years. We've come to a point where the company is bursting at the seam. We're in demand. People want this publication in different towns, in different cities, in different countries. Everywhere we go, people ask, can they have this delivered to them? Well, it's got to a point where 40,000 copies is not enough. So in order for us to continue with the news that we give to the general public, we're asking them to just pay 50 pence for a copy of the publication. And we will continue to do the best that we can for them. And now that we're known as a truth publication, because it hasn't been easy to get to where we are, to get every type of nationality in one newspaper is not easy. But now the general public understands. And so we have press releases coming from all over the world because they now understand the Phoenix and what it is that we're all about. And it's a beautiful feeling. And it's that beautiful feeling that makes us get up every day and want to continue to do it. So yes, we would love some help.
That beautiful feeling that makes you want to get up every day and do what you do. My next question, you know, is almost redundant, yet I have to ask you, what is it that is driving this passion in your belly? That passion to give to the younger generation. I know that you said how important the younger generation is. Tell me the legacy, the bigger legacy that you want to leave for the younger generation.
Well, that's easy. Because, you know, when I started to read newspapers, I grew up on Ebony magazine. That's the only publication that I used to read because I wanted to be the family with, you know, everything that you can give back to the rest of your family. I thought, why not have a doctor or a nurse or an accountant or, you know, whatever you dream and aspire to be like or want to be, or even a prime minister or president. Why not? Why shouldn't you dream? And it's that dream. I had this dream when I was a child, and every child has a dream. My childhood was not brilliant. In fact, I can't talk about it because it was really terrible. And this is why I want to give back, because I want to say to every child out there that dreaming is real and you can turn it into reality. And why not dream? Because dreaming makes you passionate about what it is that you want to do. And it's that dream that has made me come up with the Phoenix newspaper. I've made it come to life. And so my legacy is to every single young person out there. You can actually achieve against all odds. And the legacy I want to leave behind is the Phoenix newspaper, so that they have something that they can aspire to be like. They can actually, writers, designers, journalists, whatever you are, you can actually work and, you know, put something even in the Phoenix. The Phoenix is waiting for you, you know. So even when I'm not here, I'd like to know that the Phoenix is here to provide that platform of encouragement for young people. It's so, so important, because there isn't another newspaper out there that gives them that chance. When I worked for Trinity Mirror, I used to see many young people come in on a daily basis, writing articles and stories that would never, ever get a look in, because all about cost and price and payment. you know. And when you sit and you write an article, whether it's brilliant or not, you yourself feel that you've achieved something. And when somebody else looks at it and puts it in the bin, it's the most soul-destroying thing that can ever happen to anyone. So I want the Phoenix to be that newspaper that offers that platform that young people can actually feel that they will be taken seriously if they send an article in. We will look at it, we will contact you, and we will talk to you. That's the type of legacy I want to leave behind. That's the type of publication or company that I want to have. One that listens to young people, because they do have a voice and they are the next generation. I can remember when we were coming up and the generation before us were wondering what on earth we were, you know. Well, I'm open to that. And I want people to realize that positive news is very, very important for the soul. I watch other people reading other newspapers, and as soon as they're finished with it, bam, it's on the floor or it's in the bin. They're not very happy. But I can honestly tell you that when people talk about the Phoenix newspaper, they tell me that they read it in the morning before they go to work, and when they come back, they pick it up again and they read it from cover to cover. Now that makes me feel very good. And that makes me want to continue to do what it is that I have been doing for all of my life, really. Because I've worked for Thompson's Directories, I've worked for the Yellow Pages, I've worked for Watson magazine, I've worked for Chamber of Commerce publications, I've worked for the Green Book, I've worked for Freight Industry Yearbook. I have worked for every publication that I can think of out there. And then I landed on a newspaper and I landed on cable TV. So when that happened to me, I thought, yes, the world is my oyster and I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to be the Oprah Winfrey of the UK and I'm going to give it to them, whether they like it or not. So I had to give it for free. I didn't want to take prisoners on board with me. I didn't want anyone to suffer with me in the first 6 years. But now I know that I have something that is good for the soul, good for people. It's good to teach. It's good to want to learn. And that's what I'm leaving in my legacy for the next generation.
Amen to that. Beautiful. So, what is it that makes your heart sing?
Makes my heart sing. Well, it's all in together, isn't it? When I do the work that I do, and I see the smile on the faces of the people that I write about, and I get the thank yous and the hugs that I get, that is all that I need to make me continue to do what I do. And it's real. It's not just about money. Really isn't, because if I didn't have to pay for the print or pay my staff or pay for different things to happen, it wouldn't really matter. So that is what makes my heart sing, is when I can walk into an organization or walk into someone's home and they can offer me a meal and say to me, this I'm making for you because I love you, Marcia, because you love me and you've shown me respect. So that's it's simple. I just love people smiling.
How beautiful. You know, and in Radio Works world, the works stands for wealth. The W is for wealth. And wealth is not just the money in your pocket or in your bank balance, but real wealth. The feeling that your life is a satisfying one. How satisfying is your life to you?
Well, let's just say this. Since I became a diabetic, it's been awful. Because, you know, if anyone knows about diabetes, you are governed by this disease and you get very sluggish. You can hardly get out of bed, you know, and you get tired halfway through the day. So, you know, I fight against that because of the love of my job. You know, I'm there still doing what I'm doing. And I expect to beat this diabetes. I know that I'm probably crazy in thinking that, but I keep pushing myself because the diabetes is secondary to what I do, you know, and at the moment, that is the only thing holding me back. That's sluggishness.
Yeah. And Marina, in terms of Radio Works World, he says that O is for opportunity, and you are only as great as the opportunities you have, and you have to go out there and create your opportunities.
Yes.
And you're supporting others to create their opportunities. You recently supported a conference, didn't you, which was called Creating Opportunities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I support so many different conferences. I know that I supported a conference, and if you're talking about the one in Birmingham at the mailbox, is that the one that you're referring to, the Creating Opportunities?
That is among one of them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, okay. Because I support so many different conferences that, you know, provides leadership skills, understanding for people who aspire to be in business. You know, I meet up with a lot of women, including you, Dr. Neslyn Watson-Druee. And when I meet upon women of like-minded attitudes, it really is almost like a thinking camp, you know, where we all get our acts together and we give off, you know, positive vibes to individuals that are looking to take that essential step into, you know, creating opportunities for themselves and for others. And so when you are a part of something like that, it is a well of, you know, thirst quenching, you know, knowing that you're amongst people who can help you to move forward and help you to unleash that potential that you have within you is absolutely wonderful. And so being a part of the Creating Opportunities conference was indeed a great success and fulfillment for myself.
Absolutely brilliant. And so this is my final question to you, and it is about keys to success. You know, the K and the S in Radio Works World are about keys to success. What would you say have been your keys to success?
My connection spiritually with myself, because I think sometimes, you know, we have to check ourselves first before we start to look outside of, you know, ourselves. Individually, we have something that, because we're like a beacon, aren't we? We're like a beacon that shines. And, you know, if we're not walking the walk and talking the talk, we can't expect others to follow. So I work on myself every day. I know that I'm not perfect, but if you work on yourself, then surely other people will pick up on that, you know? And if one person can pick up on my energy, my determination, my will to change, to be a game changer, to be honest with you, I see myself as a game changer now. I didn't used to talk like this before, but what's happened over the years is I've got to own it. And by owning it, I now know exactly who I am and what I can give to other females, because it's a lot of females from different backgrounds that has come to congratulate me and to tell me what it is that I've done for them just by telling them my story. And today, I've only told you a part of my story. My story is forever because it starts from my childhood right the way up to now. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. And as part of the keys to success and the mindset that you have and your connection spiritually, knowing yourself, those have been the things that you have identified as your main keys to success. So yes. What more do you think, feel, or want to say about keys to success?
what more would I want to say about the key to success is, if you have a dream, don't just sit on it. Get up and do something about it. If you're not sure what to do, get up and go and find someone who can ignite or that passion that you have within you. Because, you know, for me, it's that spiritual fire, you know. I mean, I've been listening to The Voice on TV, where people are singing and allowing their talent, their singing talent to let, and I'm listening to, you know, a young man who keeps saying, find the fire within you. Well, I'm saying to everybody out there, all of us have a fire within us. You can actually ignite it, and it will burn to a flame of success. So get up and go, just go and do it.
Well, finding the fire within you, because it can rise to a flame of success, and the phoenix rising from the ashes. From one great woman, Marcia, thank you for sharing your story, a part of your story, to another great woman, Marina Nani, who has actually created Radio Works World, and who absolutely believes in everyone having a story, and for each story to be told, to reignite and to flame and to inspire others. From me, Dr. Neslyn, thank you. And until next Monday on The Passion Show, goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for having me.